Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dweebs and Weebs podcast. My name is Vize. Right next to me is Fang. And I swear to God, this was a very impromptu thing that we are doing right now.
We realized we had light up masks.
So we decided, hey, let's light up our masks and do this shit. Aesthetically, I like it. I don't know if we will make this a thing. I like it, but however, it's
Yours, but mine is very, very warm.
yeah, okay, yes. I have the luxury of having holes, but this does suck. I'm not gonna lie. I
Mine is fully enclosed without air holes.
that does suck. Is it how hard is it to breathe on a scale of 1 to 10?
4.
That is terrible. If you would like to take it off, you can, because I know that you have breathing issues.
I'll just flap open this cloth bed and wave in some air. There we
Oh,
go.
okay. We'll see how long we'll do this for. Aesthetically, watch we do this, and this is the episode that ends up blowing up, and it's like fuck. We gotta do masks now because people like the mask. That would actually upset me. I'm not gonna lie. Like sitting there and being like, "Oh, dude, what these guys? They have masks and they do a podcast." It's like fuck. Out of all episodes.
I'd actually wear the full outfit next time.
um.
I have an Air Force uniform I can wear with this that makes it work pretty well.
Okay, fair. My problem is I can technically wear something that helps since I think I'm pretty sure this is one of the masks that the people from Demon Slayer was wearing. And I have Tanjiro's kimono. The only problem is the aesthetic of being dark and just a light up mask kind of gets ruined when I have to turn on the lights to show the kimono. Unless I get a light up kimono, which that's very expensive.
For me, the biggest problem is just that my audio is not through headphones, so I have no clue what it sounds like for you.
Oh my wait, what the wait? Oh, you can't. Oh shit, you can't use headphones.
Nope.
I just realized that you can't. Okay, well, thank God I'm the one recording. Otherwise, this would have been asked.
I guess so.
Well, the fucking thing. What was I talking about? What are you watching? What have you been watching?
What have
Since
I been watching? Let me get my list. I cannot see. Ah, yes, my list.
did you why'd you write it down?
Because I didn't know I'd be wearing a mask.
You know what? Fair.
Thankfully, I have a flashlight to help me see my list. I watched season 2 of Pacific Rim Into the Black.
Oh, that got a second season?
It did, and I suspect that it is the finale, that it will not continue any longer.
That makes sense.
Also, season 1 was better.
A lot of season ones usually are. Wait, is Pacific Rim? Is that one on Netflix?
Yes, it is
Okay,
a Netflix original.
okay, that makes sense.
Next, I have watched up to the most recent, but not the most recent episode of Spy X Family.
Nice, nice. I'm hearing a lot of people really liking it.
As someone who reads the manga, I think they've added a lot with the anime, and I think it's very good.
I am happy to hear that from you.
They've done a very good job so far. Next, I watched 3 episodes of A Haran Song. It's about a regular boy who's maybe a little bit on the tall side, And he's friends with a very quiet girl who sits next to him who's very small. It's cute.
It sounds cute. Simple, but cute.
Next, I watched one episode of both of my next shows. One of them is The Greatest Demon Lord is reborn as a typical nobody.
I heard that one was very generic and not very very
It
whatever.
feels very generic too, which is why I watched one episode of it. I'll finish it. I'll be watching it with everything else I'm watching. Just I was bored, so I moved on to something hopefully more interesting. Except the next one I moved on to was Tacked Up Destiny.
Oh, that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
No, I don't like the way you said that.
So I watched one episode of that, and I had had enough. So I went on to a different show.
Oh, wait, what the fuck?
I wouldn't really fall asleep.
Wait. What about the first episode? I thought that was a great first episode.
Oh, it's a pretty good first episode.
But there's a but. I can tell. I can tell there's a but with you.
But I'm just not in the mood for something trying to be pretentious about music this soon. Vivi
Oh
was here
shit.
only yesterday,
Oh
and
shit. Wait.
I
I didn't
missed
know.
my Vivi. It is not Vivi. It
Okay,
is not
okay.
Vivi.
Fair. It's not Vivi, but don't you think it's a little unfair to compare it to Vivi?
Kind of sucks.
But don't you think it's a little unfair to compare it to Vivi?
No,
What?
because it seems to be placing equal or more importance on music as a primary theme and motivator for the entire show. But it's not as good as Vivi at doing music. In episode 1, it failed to capture me with any of its music.
I thought its music was lit. I thought its music was good.
It
I thought
was
the
good.
fucking
It was adequate. It was not special. And I
I
had Vivi recently, so I can't do not special.
asshole. We will reconvene about this at a later point.
Yes, well, I will, of course, be finishing this tacked up Destiny bullshit. I'm just not in the mood to continue it right now. So I want something light, something fun, something cute. I just finished Spy X Spy. I wanted to move on to something good and not disappointing. So I moved on to something worse that was even more disappointing and that I eventually fell asleep to 5 episodes in. And I
Well,
can't even remember what it was called. Ah, Love of Kill.
I don't even know what that is.
It's another show occurring. It's not that great.
Is it a spring show?
I think it might have been from last season.
Okay, I did not hear about this. I don't think anybody talked about this, or at least anyone I knew
I'd
or
be
watched.
surprised if it did. It's not really worth talking about.
Fair.
I fell asleep towards the end of the 5th episode, so I haven't yet finished it. And yeah, it's only 12 episodes long, so I guess I'm going to finish it and then move on to some other bullshit like Attack Off Destiny. But I finally found one the next day that I did enjoy. If I can read it.
If I can read it, then I will tell you.
I think I wrote Skeleton Knight in Another World.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
And I'm fully caught up to that. It's still airing in its dub, so I have not finished it yet.
Fair.
That one's fun. That one's solid. I've got no real complaints.
Nice. I heard that one was enjoyable. Not like great or amazing or anything, but just like it was fun and it did its job.
That's about exactly right.
Mm.
Not great, not amazing or anything, but it's fun and it does its job.
Okay. That makes sense. Well, I didn't watch as many things as you did. But I did watch a few things. Well, obviously I watched the main
Oh,
show.
I'm not finished.
Oh, never mind. Why would I assume that Buckbang would ever be finished with a list of things that he watched? Even though we're already, oh no, let me click on the fucking thing to see
I
how far we.
read I read 3 dozen titles. Okay, that's a lie. I only read a couple.
I'm about to say, I was like, bitch!
I'm about halfway through Chainsaw Man,
Okay.
and I started rereading it because I found a fully colored version online, and I'm enjoying that coloring of it. So I'm rereading it in color now. Um, a whole bunch of other bullshit. Nothing else really matters.
Wow. Making it seem like you were gonna read a whole fucking list of shit.
Listen, I just said I wasn't finished. I didn't say I really had that much to contribute. Okay.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't either. I watched three things, and one of them is the thing we're talking about today, which is the main anime. But the one of the other things I did watch was that anime I brought up before. I actually recently caught up to the dub of Tomodachi game. It's that like psychological like
Yeah, that's the one where you have a little pet and it's on your keychain and
what?
yeah,
Oh, you
gotta
fucking,
feed it every once in a
you
while.
stupid! I see what joke you. Ha
You
ha.
gotta pet
Yeah,
it.
Tomodachi is very similar to Tomogachi. I know. Ha ha ha. Wow. Like no one made that fucking joke at all. No, okay. So I am personally liking it. However, I can't tell if I enjoy the twists and turns that they have, or okay, no. Let me rephrase that. I can't tell if the twisted turns they have been executed well, or I didn't, or they're predictable. But I'm also wondering if I was just very over analyzing it, or if they made it very good that everyone was potentially plausible for the certain thing in the show. So that at least makes it interesting. I really gotta think about that one. Overall, I am enjoying it so far, though. I don't know where it's going now because it's going in a direction that I did not expect it to do. Like it pushed some early level twists that I was expecting it to be like towards the end, which I'm very surprised that it did. So I have no idea where it's gonna go from here, but overall, I am enjoying it. And then another thing that I ended up watching was I realized that the next season for this is coming out, and since I'm already like damn near 100 episodes deep into this, well, officially since watching it, I'm now 100 episodes deep into it. I might as well just keep going. You know it, I know it. It's what do you call that show? Oh, yeah, My Hero Academia, Boku no Hero Academia. Huh?
What did you say it was?
My Hero Academia?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's a
Yeah.
shame.
I mean, yeah, but I doubt we'll talking about it. It's a good thing for me to talk about my channel because it's a popular anime. And like I said, I was already close to 100 episodes. I might as well just keep fucking going at this point. Um, you remember like what? It's 2018 now, right? How far along? When we no. We made this around.
2018 now.
No. Sorry, I was thinking about when we first started the podcast, which I think was it was in 2018. I'm pretty sure because I was
Wait,
living at my other place at the time. 2018, 2019, 2021, 2. So what? It's been 4 years on and off. We've been doing this podcast. Yeah, you remember how like when one of our first episodes we talked about how that show
was mediocre and disappointing.
like yeah, but how like the first episode it was probably one of our favorite first episodes because it established the potential for it could have been so high and so unique and so different.
I am almost certain I never used the words favorite first episode.
Not favorite first episode, but how it was a really good first episode.
I don't even think I'd ever agree with that.
I feel like we had a conversation where we talked about how like the first.
You felt really positively about it, and I, as someone who's read X-Men, had a much better grasp of how terrible the world building was as soon as they tried to explain Quark.
Okay. Maybe hold on. Not okay. Maybe not. Okay,
Literally,
maybe not the overall like world or everything, but like like Deku as a character in that first episode.
no, I still, as someone who's read better things, I lamented the fact that he could be a good character in the future. He was not in that episode.
No, that's what I no. I'm not talking about him like the actual content, but the potential of like this could go somewhere. Like I remember how we were going out being like, if they keep with the idea of him being like powerless in the world where power is a norm, how like this could actually be really entertaining depending how they executed it.
Well, that it could be better as a premise.
Oh, it could be better as a premise, but you know what I mean. We at least had a more positive view on it.
I'm not sure I'd even love it in execution knowing this show anymore.
Well, I think the thing. Okay, maybe I'm forgetting how. Okay, maybe there's a lot of caveats for that conversation that we had, but I at least know that the conversation that we had. I think at one point we compared him to potentially being something of like Moomin Rider expectation of like someone who doesn't have powers who's still trying his best in like a world and like trying to execute it on like that level. Okay, never mind. So I'm just okay. Forget me lumping into you in this conversation. So I at least was hoping, at the first episode, that Deku would have been a far better character than this and something of a norm, right? And as on and on, he's just fallen more to the wayside. And this next season made me just. I basically did. I almost did the same thing I did with this show that I had to do when reading the manga for Bleach, which was just. Huh?
Reading manga for Bleach.
Wait, what do you mean?
Wait. Am I mishearing things? What did you say?
Reading the manga for Bleach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you do for that?
Oh, I had to just sit that down and say, I have to take a break from you.
Oh.
Because they did the bullshit. They just did like the worst version of just power creep, my personal opinion.
Bleach?
Bleach, yeah. There's a whole thing with that comes with this next season that I get to talk about, which is good because I think no one ever talks about that because people never actually break it down. But basically, okay. So I assume you're not gonna watch My Hero Academia at any point, right?
No, sadly I am. Remember, I've only ever dropped one show, so
Oh,
at some point when the show finishes, I will watch it.
so I'm assuming you don't want me to tell you about this then.
Not right now, but if you want, I will catch up and then we can talk about it in a future episode.
Sure. I'm
All right.
okay with that.
Well, then I will prioritize My Hero Academia.
I apologize. I mean, you can just have me tag you, but it's your funeral. That's it
In
though.
exchange, I have a request.
Ah, shit. What is it?
Don't watch fucking One Piece.
No, I have to.
No, you don't.
No, I have to. Alex, this is non-negotiable at this point.
Watch One Piece. No one has ever had to watch One Piece. I don't know why people choose to watch One Piece.
Because you know what, Alex? It's really good content for my channel. I can get a lot of videos out of it. So I'm reading One Piece.
Good about saying Rubber Man does bullshit Rubber don't do. What's good about that? What's good about the content you would be making?
It's One Piece. People will click on One Piece videos. People will click on One Piece videos. And as someone who has read and watched a shit ton of manga and anime, not doing one of the big three feels kind of weird to me. Like, yes, technically I did it when it was coming out in 4Kids, but no one counts the 4Kids version.
I haven't finished the big three.
Yeah, and you're going through them. You're giving them a chance.
I'm explicitly only going through them when I have nothing else to watch.
I'm not saying I'm going to prioritize it. I'm just saying I have to watch it. It's not going to be a priority because there's newer things that people are talking about. And obviously, there's better content and better shows out there. Well,
there are better shows in my toilet.
Well, like I said, I haven't actually sat down to watch it, so I'm gonna hold back certain insults until I fully watch the show so I can commit to them. But it is definitely not going to be a show I dedicate myself to. You can shake your head all you want, but I'm the one that has the independent YouTube channel that's gotta do this shit. Someone has to do it, and unfortunately, that person has to be me. Either way,
you know what's sad?
What?
We've done a better job of keeping our helmets on than Master Chief in the most recent Halo show.
Don't bring that up. How dare you bring that up? I don't want to talk about that bullshit on this. I don't want to talk about that bullshit ass show. I refuse to talk about that show. I'm not talking about it, and you're not talking about it. You're not going on any Tyrant about it. Fuck off.
But we must.
No.
Oh, but we should.
No.
Did you not hear what happened in the finale?
I don't care. That show is trash.
Oh, after this podcast, I will share with you the events that occurred, and it will make you want to hate watch the show with me.
No, it will not. There's nothing there's nothing that show could do to make me hate watch it.
So extreme and bullshit. I think it might actually grab you.
If you know what, if anything, I might do that watch party shit that Twitch does. That's the only way I'm watching it because I can make content out of it.
Let's do it.
No, I don't want to.
But you will after I tell you what happens.
We'll see. We'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see.
Dumb.
We'll see.
All
right. I think it's time for us to get into the nitty gritty of the podcast today, which is my dress up darling. You sigh. Why you sigh?
In character. For My Dress Up Darling, a show about staying in cosplay, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm taking this damn helmet off.
Oh shit! Wait. Did we accidentally do Oh. No, I feel like we need to keep it on now.
You can, if you like to. I lost the ability to breathe or see out of this ages ago. There's so much of my own breath fogging the piece of glass that I can no longer see even vague shapes through it. I can see only the brightness of my monitors somewhere in the background. And that's about it.
Okay, fair. This actually sounds fucking terrible. So if you want to, you can take off the helmet.
I think I might.
Yeah. Although I find it funny that we accidentally did light cosplay on an episode talking about an anime that does cosplay.
That is true.
That wasn't planned. Keep in mind, people, that wasn't planned. We just saw the mask. He had his mask. I just had to show my mask. He liked the lights on my mask, brought his mask because it had lights. And then I said, fuck it, let's do it with the mask. This was a complete fucking accident. Although I do like this aesthetic, so I might keep this.
Thank God.
I might keep this. Even though my face is plastered.
Well, you should.
Huh?
And well, you should.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Oh, well, that made a lot of noise. Okay, no, that is going to hurt my eyes if I keep it flashed like that. But yes, my dress up darling. My Dress Up Darling. Uh, I actually fairly enjoyed this.
My Dress Up Darling. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really good.
yeah.
It's a really solid execution of a pretty standard romance plot. Yeah.
Oh, before we get into that, I mean, it's still My Dress Up Darling related, but you know what I've seen? I don't know if you've seen it around, but have you seen like the new era waifu meme going around?
What meme?
The new era waifu meme.
I don't think I have.
So I've noticed this a little bit. It's growing a little bit more, but it seems like there's a lot of people that are making like memes and comics and like art pieces of four specific female characters in anime right now, and the feeling the what it seems is that there's the consensus like that these are like the waifus that people are latching onto, or at least the best girls that people are latching onto, which is Nagatoro from the show was Nagatoro, Uzaki-chan, Koni-san, and Marin.
Hmm.
Because like I see people draw them and of like them hanging out or then going to a coffee shop, then playing video games, doing all that stuff. You know, the typical character switching clothes shit. So like I've seen that and I'm just like, huh. It seems like that this new era of anime has kind of dictated which four girls that they're gravitating towards the most right now.
Yeah,
At least in terms of new girls that have come out in this era.
in terms of who is popular in Rule 34 this week, sure.
Girls.
It's true.
I mean, I know it's true. It's a rule of the internet, but you're
Speaking
also
of
gross.
Rule 34, Spy X Family.
No! Please do not ruin the wholesome humbleness of this show for me, please. I will end your life.
I still don't get it. I still don't get it.
Wait, what do you not get?
I still don't get whatever weird controversy there was about the sexualization of those guys. I just don't get it.
Wait.
The Spy X Family drama.
No, I get it, but what part of that do you not get?
It's now that I've actually seen the show and how the show portrayed it, I absolutely do not get how anyone thought there was any sexualization of that little girl at all.
Oh, yeah, no, me either. I really don't understand it. People latched on hard to that shit. That's why the people shut that shit down quick, and I was very happy for that because that made zero fucking sense to me at all whatsoever. Like it was just people trying to find the littlest dab of horniness, even if they had to make it up.
Yeah. Speaking of horniness and anime, so My Dress Up Darling is only successful because of episode 2. Because we got horny for an episode. That's it. I'm convinced that's the only reason it blew up as much as it did.
Oh yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. I think the overall content of the actual story is like fairly entertaining for the most part. However, no one would have probably watched this if it wasn't for that second episode. For like the decent animation and then what they showed in that animation, there is no way in hell that anybody would have actually sat down and watched that.
Well, hold on, anybody. Us romance fans still were watching.
Yes, the romance fans would have obviously latched onto it, but
standard romance.
Yes, but like the general anime population would have not watched it.
Well, not to the level that they did.
Yeah. Well, obviously that's what I mean. Like this would have not been like the biggest shit of the season, or potentially the year, if it wasn't for that.
If it wasn't for the TNA, it would not have.
Yeah.
So, are we going to talk about that TNA?
Is this the conversation? Is this the episode where we finally have the conversation?
This is the episode where we bring up the fact that, that show heavily sexualizes a minor and does not portray that minor physically as a minor and does not want you, the audience, to treat that minor as a minor. And that the community was absolutely fine with not treating that minor as a minor. You know what I didn't hear people blow up about? I didn't hear people blow up in the way they did about Spy X Family, about the sexualization of what amounts to a underage girl in slutty cosplay that's being overtly sexualized. In fact, celebrated in that even the main character masturbates to images of this girl. It is heavily implied that he literally whacks it off when she texts him an image of herself. No one explode over that. No drama. No internet drama over that. Little girl cuddling up to adoptive dad? Drama. So, we gonna talk about it?
I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't want to have this conversation, but I know we have to.
Were you okay with let's start really easy. Are you okay with Spy X Family?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Are you okay with sexualization in animation?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Are you okay with adults being portrayed in a overtly sexual and even some would consider inappropriate level? Say, give it a TVMA rating and a warning about nudity. You okay with that? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Are you okay with shows? You know what? Let's not say shows like. How did you feel about the sexualization of characters, say in episode 2 of My Dress Up Darling?
I still don't fully know.
Oh, I fully know.
Well, yeah, because you you're not concerned with your opinions making you seem like a fucking creep to other people. Whereas I at least need to feel like I gotta thoroughly flesh out my ideas.
As concerned as the next random citizen. I just don't let that concern dictate what I say. Or at least not to the extent I'd lie about it.
Fair. I just appreciate having some level of normal social interaction, so I don't tend to lean heavily into these thought processes.
Not to fully, divulge your actual opinion on things. Yeah, okay.
Safest bet to survive socially, unfortunately. The dark truth behind it. But
But
I,
really,
okay,
in the episode, were you okay with the portrayal in the episode? Were you okay with the characterization of characters of young love? Because honestly, I am. I was
okay.
fully.
So yeah, so this is my process, right? Like my big obvious reaction to it was like, what the fuck? It's even though we can argue, yes, they don't. She is not of the appearance of someone who would be 15, which I would argue that there are that at least in more recent times there are a blurry lines of what people would look as a 15-year-old and whatnot. But I did at least think about it, and it was just like, well, it is between two minors, and like this isn't like it's not extremely unheard of, right? Like it's not like it's an out of pocket situation where people are just like, what the fuck? Where would you ever find somebody? There might be a situation where, but like, right, like two kids in high school are potentially undressing from each other. Like this shit happens. We were all 15 at one point, So fucking like, obviously, like the thing there is like, I don't know. I don't think I have okay, I don't think my issue is with the depiction of certain minors in animation. Because in truth, in some situations, that shit just happens, right? It's you can equate it and at least ground it in some
Sure.
realistic situation where it's not absurd. I think
I,
my problem isn't necessarily with the actual animation, rather with the fan base, and how far the fan base is willing to go towards ludification or sexualization, sex. Ah, give me a minute. Okay. Sexualization of certain characters whose age may not be legal.
I
Now
think
here, huh?
I, I I think I'm going to attempt to stop you here
Okay.
because you've already gone way more extreme than I would go.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I don't think I radically accept all people of all ages having sexual relationships with each other on a televised show.
okay, okay. Hold on. Okay, okay. My okay. Hold
In
on, hold
the
on, hold on.
or
That was.
not contextually inappropriate for people in real life to do with each other.
Wait, hold on. I didn't hear that last part. What'd you say?
Uh, Even if it is contextually appropriate for people in real life to do certain acts with each other, that does not mean I necessarily agree that they should be televised on, say, publicly airing teen or even children's animation.
Okay.
For example, I would not be okay with the sexualization of the characters in, say, Made in Abyss.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I would not be okay with that either.
Right? Even though those kids having sexual exploration, or at least exploration of each other's literal sexes, um, would be fully natural. And I think, say, the show does appropriately show such interaction appropriately, specifically by withholding it and not sexualizing it. For example, I'm pretty sure in episode one, she not only has a stick literally up the little boy's ass, but also references touching his wiener at some point.
Wait, does that actually happen?
Yeah, but it's like I don't even remember the context, but it's just little kid and a robot.
Okay.
It's not a sexualization. It's not being shown or typified to the audience. It's just a thing, and they make a little light joke out of it, and it's contextually appropriate and does not show something inappropriate.
Okay.
I think I would be uncomfortable with real life minors having the level of sexualization as we saw in this episode, or
Oh,
episode two of My Dress Up Darling.
okay.
If I
Yeah.
saw 14 and 15-year-olds being that heavily sexualized in a live thing, knowing that they were 14 and 15-year-olds, I would think it's wildly inappropriate.
Okay. Yes. I. Okay. Actually, yes. Okay. 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 All right. Yes, I do agree with this.
Okay, because the way you were going, you were making it sound like you were okay with that,
Okay. To
which
be
is why
fair,
because I don't think you actually agree with that.
okay. No, the idea was going down it was not being okay with it, but like n- not being okay with it, but like more of seeing where other parties were coming from in potentiality, and being like, man, not do I agree with it? No, but I guess I see where people are coming from, but that's something I personally would not be okay seeing.
Sure. Okay. So before we go on to like the potential like it's okay in media to do like say what's that famous HBO one, the
Euphoria.
one where the kids do all the drugs and sex,
Euphoria. Euphoria.
Euphoria,
Yeah.
right? It may be more contextually appropriate in a show like Euphoria to show the reality of kids having sexual and even illegal interactions with each other and their environments, right? It's appropriate to do that, but because who's the target audience for Euphoria?
I would say
Adult.
it's a more of adult audience.
It's strictly adults.
Yeah.
And there's a mature content restriction for it, and it gives warnings about it, and you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. I think so. I
And
think so.
it's not
Putting minors in
a
this.
cartoon whose primary audience is children in real life.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
My Dress Up Darling, its primary audience is teenagers, children
Yes.
of the same age as the characters. And while it would be appropriate in forms of fiction for that, as an animated and publicly aired televised feature that is not on a restricted platform, say like HBO, which can be age restricted by your parents, it isn't and is being shown in a way that may be inappropriate if it were real people, right?
Yeah.
But it's not real people. Or more accurately, it's not really kids.
I. Hmm. Do I understand where you're?
You might not yet, but okay, so check this out. So I started saying, I'm okay with the level of sexualization in My Dress Up Darling.
Okay.
I even think that it's perfectly fine to have um, very tantalizing characters and overtly sexualizing them in animation. I even think that honestly, it's probably fine to do that with young adults or children in mind as the target audience. I think the reason it's okay when it's fake and when it's an actor in a movie or it's being portrayed by people who aren't really the same age as these people is because there's a level of deniability and there's a social barrier that exists when something is not real and being shown. And I think cartoons extenuate this barrier. Anime loves to play with this barrier, loves to completely remove this barrier. It loves to have 15-year-old being Kill a Kill, being naked, being Kill a Kill.
Yes.
Um, because they're not actually being shown or portrayed as children. Similar to the people in Euphoria, it's not real children in Euphoria being portrayed doing illegal things. It's adults acting as if they were still high schoolers doing illegal things. There's a level of deniability that removes you from the reality of a situation and makes it okay to sexualize these people. So it's okay to sexualize Zendaya on Euphoria because she's being purposefully sexualized knowingly as a consenting adult. Similarly, animated things, people in anime, kids in anime, 15 and 16-year-olds in anime are not 15 and 16. They're actually being portrayed by adult men and women voice actors being animated with the proportionality of adult men and women and being portrayed as conscious and what's the word for informed consent?
Uh.
Word for when you're capable of informing. Well, they are fully portrayed as fully capable of consent for the actions they do in anime. Um, we don't treat many children in fiction as children. we treat them as adults with asterisks on them. Like, we don't treat 15-year-old Harry Potter going through the Order of the Phoenix as a 15-year-old. We actually treat him like an adult, and even especially in the movies where he's being portrayed by an adult by that point, he's an adult. Similarly, people in anime are adults. They're not children. I didn't watch two 16-year-olds or 15-year-olds ogle each other and get sexualized on the camera. I watched uh, more closely related proportionally to like a 22 to 24-year-old get ogled on camera by also proportionally looking a 22 to 24-year-old on camera. Thoughts?
So okay, so I get it, right? Where they're not portrayed as like what we would consider in society to be a kid, right?
They're not portrayed as people who cannot give informed consent.
Yeah, like I get that.
Like kids cannot usually give informed consent, or at least not appropriately in most situations,
I
especially with people like adults.
um
Kids
I'm trying to find like the proper word.
are sexualized with whatever his name is.
Who?
The main character, no fraud. I starts with an N. I don't
Wait,
remember.
wait, from which show?
Sure,
Which show?
in life we're not okay with a
Which show? That
age.
nigga, that the whatever. Never mind. Fucking like part of me gets like part of me sees that argument, and part of me is like that makes sense. But there's this part of me that sits there. It's like yeah, but like who's like so. Would you say that it would be it could be good faith to apply this that we could pretend no it wouldn't be good faith. Oh my god, I don't know how I would go around this or
Oh,
how I think about this because like
going
I
really hard stuff later.
what
Just wait until we get to the really hard stuff later.
this isn't the really hard stuff.
This is the easy stuff where I think portraying children as adults equals observing them and treating them as adults. I think that's a pretty easy argument to understand, get behind, and I think almost all people intuitively feel that way, whether or not they admit it on social media or even to each other. While I don't think you could turn to your friend and expect them to be like, yeah, I'm okay with 15-year-olds fucking each other. I do think almost everyone thinks it's okay for 15-year-olds to have relations with each other.
Well yeah yeah.
Similarly, I I absolutely think unconsciously 99% of audiences do not treat children in media who are being portrayed as intelligent and aware actors, like self actors, like not actors as in they're acting a role, but people who can perform actions ethically.
Yeah.
I think absolutely unconsciously the vast majority of audiences treat all actors within media as adults, even when they are clearly being portrayed as children. I think HBO is a really good example of this stuff, like where clearly underage looking and acting, and canonically underage children in, say, Game of Thrones, murdering each other and covering sensitive topics such as like rape pretty often. Um, Clearly is treated in the rules of that world and to the audience for the majority. We all treat all these people, all these characters as adultish, and we consciously recognize only children who are being portrayed as children all the way. So, like, if the show makes a big deal about someone being a kid, we feel like they're a kid. But most of the time, it's the opposite. We're made to feel like they're conscious and aware actors in a world in which they can act, perform actions. I should say perform actions.
Okay. I don't know if I don't know if I can if I mentally fully stand by it. But for the sake of progressing the for the sake of progressing the conversation, I will agree.
Okay. Now, whether or not you agree, I still want to know how you specifically feel about the scene in episode two.
Um, I mean, I sit there and I think it's like a bit much.
Well,
Um,
it's a bit much.
huh?
Of course, it's a bit much.
Yeah.
But what do you mean by a bit much? Is it a bit much in that it's just it goes on too long, it's a bit too horny, or is it a bit much as in it crosses some ethical
Okay.
bounds?
Well, in terms of storytelling, I feel like they didn't need to do all that extra shit. That okay. At least in terms of storytelling, I feel like yeah, we there's maybe like a little too much focus. In terms of like like ethical aspect of it, like part of me wants to say like maybe they shouldn't have put it, or like
But then,
at the very least like tone it down significantly, to where we're not getting so much fucking ads in our face and shit.
I would ask you why. Because I think that there's an intentional tone to the entire work, the entire piece, that these people are treated basically as adults.
I mean, I can't think of
And
any.
I don't think I could get behind the narrative if they're treated just as children, especially children as I know children.
I
People
mean,
probably shouldn't be allowed to be making life altering decisions about their careers before they've even graduated high school, or people who are not just modeling on the side, but also um, possibly being taken advantage of by other people on the regular end, then also being overtly sexualized for an audience. I I I I think it's important for the narrative that I treat these characters as consenting adults, as informed actors. And I don't think I'd enjoy the narrative if they weren't. If they were really as childlike as we would expect them to be portrayed in, say, a normal slice of life. Like, I think there's a thing where, like, it's a slice of life romance about high schoolers, except they've taken 99.9999% of everything childlike out of that experience. We don't see them in school all the time. We don't see them dressed up in school uniforms all the time. We don't see them doing childish things all the time. We see them in a professional workplace where he's designing dolls for a future career, maybe even a present career.
okay. Well, like,
Actually, directly stated that he has dolls and outfits being sold and displayed in that store. He is a professional, and he lives and works at that location.
I think it's
I don't remember seeing him at school. I remember seeing him at work.
there are some scenes where he was at school, but I mean, like,
But
The thing with that is
How
like you can argue that it's like the whole aspect of the cosplay thing is like that childlike thing they do, where it's like
is
yeah,
it?
it's like her job,
Because
but like
I don't think we normally allow children to cosplay to the extent these cosplayers are doing.
I okay,
They treat
I
very specifically adult cosplay to portray, and then also take the characters to an adult location to do that adult cosplay in.
um I,
They
I,
do not act.
I'm gonna be completely honest. You would be very surprised nowadays. You know,
Listen, I know kids do that, but we do not normally condone children doing that.
again, you would be surprised, dude. I think with the way things like with the way things are going, it seems like a lot of people are way more okay with people like doing the things that the
You
characters in the show do with
the
the cosplays.
majority of parents would be okay with their daughters and sons going to a sex hotel dressed up as succubi together to photograph each other. Basically,
Maybe
no,
not that last one. No, maybe not that last one.
that
But a
the adult
lot of the things.
play, the adult place and the adult scene and the adult location with the two consenting adults necessarily by the narrative.
Eh, it just, I don't know. There's just something in my mind that just feels wrong. I get it because they obviously we give them a lot more agency than we would a younger kid. There's just something that still feels wrong about accepting the fact that like we would depict them as older adults. The only thing I could probably think of is like
I don't think so. Okay,
well like the only thing I could potentially see that makes sense in my mind would be like a cultural difference type of thing.
mm, I don't know, man. I think there's only one character in this show that was actually portrayed as a child.
The actual little girl or her sister.
The
Those
the
are the only
little
two.
yeah, the much bigger, physically bigger little sister.
Wait, yeah, okay, my bad. Yeah,
Remember,
no,
she's her
the
little.
age, the actual the age younger, yes,
We call younger sisters little.
yeah, just the younger sister, yeah. My bad, that fucking size proportion
The
fucked with me.
only character treated as a child in the narrative, and I think if you changed the literal canon to everyone else is an adult and you still keep that character as a child, I think the narrative doesn't change a single bit. I think it stays exactly the same, except for it's become more technically appropriate to real life.
Yeah, yeah. Like
I don't think
if you change school to it being a workplace, like an actual proper workplace,
okay, what
like
what major scene occurs at school?
um the scene where she asks him to actually make cosplays for her.
How about this?
That does happen in
What
school.
scene is important that it occurred at a school?
Oh well, okay. Technically none.
And what scene is an important part of the setting, the school?
Okay, no. Okay, no, none. Yeah.
Yeah, none. Yeah. They could have been at the workplace together. They could have been at desk jobs together in an office. They could have been literally, they could have been on the train. They could have been commuters who happened to commute on the set. There's absolutely nothing important about them being in school or about them being underage. There's nothing thematically important. There's nothing that changes in the narrative or the meta narrative. There's nothing important to them being children because they're not treated as children. They're treated as young adults, literally young adults, not YA as in 17 or 16. They're treated as young adults as in people with full agency out in the real world to a very large extent, um, making real choices and actions on their own. At no point is any of the characters dependent on any other character other than the little sister being dependent on the older sister. Even the main character living with his grandfather, he's not living with his grandfather to be supported. He's living as an apprentice, a working apprentice. It is not a children's position. He isn't dressed like a child. He very explicitly, and they make a big joke about how the fact that he pretty much only dresses in work attire and his work appropriate attire. He doesn't do things outside of that work, and I just they're just not treated as children. Well, I guess I should transition with they're not portrayed as children, but there are some people who are.
Okay.
Not in that show.
Okay.
Are you ready for the difficult question? Are you ready to complicate matter?
I mean, sure, I guess.
Are you ready for lolly vampires? Are you ready for lolly grannies? Magical girls who are 300 years old? People portrayed as children who are clearly not canonically children? People who are overtly sexualized and made appropriate to do so by the canon that they're 600 years old and trapped in the body of an 8-year-old.
Okay.
How do you feel about lolly grandmothers?
I feel weird about that too, honestly.
Do you feel weird in the same way? I don't.
I don't know if I feel weird in the same way.
I don't, but I also don't feel weird about it.
I would say I feel weird. I would say I feel weird about it
Why?
because it just kind of feels like you're making the proportions and personality of a child only to just
Well, hold on,
get.
hold on. The proportions, yes. It's not often the personality is actually that of
Oh
a
yeah,
child.
okay, fine. Not often the personality, but
In fact,
like
it's usually fairly explicitly not the personality of a child. It's usually the personality of a 800-year-old vampire chick who's sexualizing and murdering people. It's
yeah, but
odd.
there's also a good amount that will say that they're that age but still act, bratty. Just because it doesn't happen all the time doesn't mean it's not
Full adults act
uncommon.
bratty all the time.
What?
I don't think brattiness is exclusive to youth.
Well, not okay,
Like,
not exclusion new, but like the
I'd say
traits that I would see in a younger child, I would see not extensively, but it's I would say it's common enough to say it's like it would be like somewhat of a trope in anime to give the 600-year-old Lolly character somewhat of a childlike personality.
well, a bratty personality. I don't think I can recall one with an actual childlike personality. I think the most the most infamous, I should say, um, lolly vampire specifically is probably Dancing the Vampire Bund, where like it's a 400 or 500-year-old, clearly lolly, super sexualized, um, who, but I don't think she's ever portrayed as acting childish.
I remember one. I forget what the fuck his show is called, but I know it's like some dude runs into like a villain group. The villain group is ran by like Lolly, who's like 300 years old, and she has like the outfits and stuff like that, and the fucking then like she acts like a child, though she still runs a fucking organization somehow. Well, not really because everyone else does it because it's fucking
Okay, but is she sexualized?
yes.
Yeah.
I remember her being very heavily sexualized in that one. Yes.
All right.
with the
I'm
outfits
not.
and their actions and constantly everything.
I'm not familiar with this particular work.
I would have to look it up. It has a I know it's one of those that have a long ass fucking.
All right. All right. That may be inappropriate.
Hmm.
The only other like lollies hiding their age I can think of are not sexualized. So like characters like what's her name from Hunter X Hunter? Oh right, you haven't
So
seen it.
I have a lot watched Hunter X Hunter.
Well, there's a very old lolly in that, and she's not sexualized in any way. Um, Similarly, ReZero. We both seen ReZero. You remember the librarian in ReZero?
Yeah,
I
Beatrice.
don't think they sexualize her in pretty much any way. She's
No,
a
yeah, they don't sexualize her. She's just a girl
lolly.
that lives in the library.
Well, a ancient girl that lives in the
Yes, an ancient girl lives in the library, but you know, it's a girl in the library that lives in the library. It's just an ancient girl that lives in the library.
library. Yep. So here's why I don't feel weird about it, because usually narratively they are not children and they're not treated as children and they also don't act like children. It's not developmentally disabled adults in children's bodies. It's not people who's frozen development at childhood either. It's people who have lived and learned experiences that um, narratively propel them far beyond childhood. And it's unfortunate that they're stuck in a child's body. It's not usually, even when it's being sexualized or when that character is being sexualized, it I would like to think it's not
That they're not sexualizing the actual form of the body, but rather the person that's inside of the body.
exactly that. The idea is almost like with the vampire in specific, it's
You're in
um
love with the actual
idea
the
that
history. The oh no, sorry, you say your thing. Say your thing.
oh sorry it's like a less grotesque version of being caught in a monster body. So it's closely parallel to like say looking hideous and deformed. It's they're stuck in a body that is unfortunate to be in, and the romantic idea is that a bond can exist between the primary love interest and this character, despite that, not because of that.
Well,
You know?
okay. I think the problem, at least in that aspect, is that not from the manga or anime side of things, because that one I think is a little can be a little bit easier to argue due to like what you said of just like there is the older person and usually they're not actually treated like that. There are I like I said I think there are a good amount that are heavily sexualized to be children and just get the
I mean, there are. We can bring up actual children being sexualized in many things. Heck,
yeah,
infamously
but
related to something we talked about earlier,
yeah,
Made in Abyss, the
yeah.
manga does seem to heavily sexualize children in a way that's inappropriate, and that doesn't seem to have made it through to the anime. Thank God.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is good.
yes,
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
good that doesn't make it through. But
But I think
yeah,
a big problem with that aspect of like you're hoping it's the personality is that a lot of people will equate love to be both like a personality thing and a physical thing. So when a lot of people think of loving a character or loving a person, that automatically comes with the inherent physical attraction. So it's one of those things where it's like, while you may love the person, at the end of the day, you also have to somewhat love the body in which the person is in.
so okay, yes and no to this, but I think that's fine. I think it's okay to say it's okay that they're into each other despite things, right? It's not usually well
Because like okay,
not
here would be two different narratives, right? Where it's like I think people could accept it if it was like an isekai situation, right? Like let's say it's a younger couple
oh
who gets
man, you and I disagree on this really hardcore,
well,
but
I'm not saying this is my person. I'm not saying this is my
I
statement.
know I'm aware of what you're about to say. I'm gonna let you say it just Also, keep in mind I disagree with it.
Okay, that's fine, and I am interested to see to hear if you actually disagree with this. But there's like two different narratives, right? Where it's like it's an isekai story where it's a young, it's you know a older couple, oh no, it's an adult couple who get isekai, and like while one of the partners stay relatively the same, the other one gets turned into a younger kid. So like there is at least the argument of like the person inherently
When
still
does that happen? Okay, never mind. Maybe I didn't know where you were going.
okay, yeah.
I
Okay,
think
yeah,
that
that's what I'm saying. It's like, hold on, you might not like where like the initial connection is like there's the person that's in love with the person beforehand, where but like they still have to love, they're still in love with the person, but they have to accept who they are. But there's the initial inheritance of like there's prior info to what that relationship is now versus like let's say
now I
it's
see where you're going, and I do disagree, but for a different reason.
okay, fair. Versus like a story that's more set in like a magical world where someone runs into somebody who's like older but with a younger body. Where I think a lot of people is like a lot of people will always assume that the first thing that will draw a person romantically to someone is physically. So like
I
everyone will look at that and be like, well, with the Isekai story, they loved each other before. They have that connection already built, so that's understandable. Versus,
I
there's no way you went up to that person and didn't like the lolly body and then like the personality. Like you had to like the body before you actually got to know the person.
so I disagree with this. I think it's partially because you're unconsciously acting in poor faith. So the argument for why it's romantic that two people who don't know each other and then meet each other, and one of them stuck in say a lolly body and one of them's a normal person, why it's romanticized and why it's okay to romanticize the fact that they find attraction in each other despite that is exactly because it's despite that. There's an additional barrier to the relationship, and the relationship works its way to greater depth regardless. And I
Wait,
don't think that's any different than two people who know each other beforehand and one of them turns into a kid.
wait,
I don't think it's any different. It's the exact same, except for it's easier for them because they already have that connection beforehand.
wait, are you wait? So wait.
I'm saying in your isekai world, that situation is not any different from the other one you described. It is exactly the same, with the only difference in that you already start with a relationship. So it's uh,
Wait, how is that? How is it not though?
how is it not what?
How is it? Oh no, sorry. How is it the same?
Because the barrier is the exact same either way. Just you've been given a boost against the attack on the barrier. So, like when you're a normal adult and you meet a lolly vampire, the barrier to you starting a romantic relationship.
Hello? Oh shit! Oh shit! Bug frame might have froze. Oh shit! God damn it! Yep, that is a frozen boy. Okay, so apologies for this. We will. I will go ahead and I will fix all this. And we will reconvene.
Or maybe something just particularly
Oh,
entrancing.
oh, oh! Time out! Time out! Time out! Time out! Time out!
Yeah.
Time out! Okay, that threw me the fuck off for a second. Okay, you froze. I don't know if you could tell, but you froze.
Me? I froze?
Yes.
Oh, I could not tell.
Okay, yeah, you froze, and like I missed the entirety of everything you just said.
Oh, damn. How far back?
It wasn't that far back. It was like a 40. I would say for like 45-second like freeze.
Okay, then I'll just start over.
Okay.
So
Okay, you're fucking with me. Wait, Alex, you're fucking. There's no way. There's no way. You're fucking with me, Alex. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but you have to be fucking with me. There's no fucking. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
barrier is exactly the same. The only oh
There's no
Isaiah?
fucking, there's no fucking way. Did that?
Okay.
No, you're fucking with me, right?
No, for me, you froze this time.
Okay, I don't know
This
what's
time I
going
was
on.
thinking
Huh?
you froze.
Okay, I legit don't know what's going on. Ironically, I was like, repeat it, and you're like, okay. So, anyways, and you froze again. Like as about you were literally starting your shit.
All right, hold on. Let me see if anything's going on my side.
Okay.
No, I've still got my Ethernet connection, full access, running a speed test. I still have 100 down.
Wait, you only have 100 down?
Yeah,
Wait, why do you only have 100 down?
don't even have 100 down. Technically, I have 85 down
Wait, why do you have 85 down?
because Comcast is a lying piece of shit.
Dude, I pay less than you and I have like close
I
to
know.
300 down.
I know.
I'm so sorry.
I know. We're supposed to be getting like 2.5 gigabit right now.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll never get 2.5 gigabit. I learned that the hard way.
Uh,
You'll
I
never
have
get
Hartford.
you'll never get the full extent of what you actually get. That's what I've learned.
No, but I mean, we're getting choke point anyway. But 100 megabit is more than enough.
Fair.
40 would be more than 20 would be more. Anyhow, all right. So we haven't experienced the pause and a freeze in a hot minute, right?
Yeah.
So let's continue. I'll restart one more time. Hopefully there'll be no freezing.
Okay. Okay, I will also say this. If you freeze, there's no way. He's fucking with me. He's fucking
Okay,
with me.
that time I was fucking with you.
Okay, I was like, there's no way that happened. He has to be like pausing his
That
fucking
time
stream
I
or
was
something.
just holding really still.
Okay, you're good. You know what?
Did I get you though?
You
Did I get
did, but only because the mask is fucking with my perception of shit. So like, I just can't see. First of all, I already can't see that well. I'm pretty sure I need glasses. But this plus the mask just fucked with me. So I was just like, fuck, I can't actually tell if you're frozen or if you're fucking with me.
Good. We're just having fun.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anyway, so actually restarting. So it's the same barrier. It's the same barrier for both parties, right?
Yeah.
For the isekai one, who has a romantic relationship going into it, and for the isekai one who meets a new partner.
Okay.
Both have the same barrier. Their potential partner looks like a child. The only difference is that one of them has a boost to the relationship. They already have a pre-existing relationship, so they've already crossed some number of barriers. So the only difference between them is the number of barriers to initially cross for basic knowledge of the other person. And the vast majority of the time, the narrative accounts for that. When regular adult male or teenage boy, whatever, meets a lolly grandmother vampire, they're not in a sexual relationship right off the bat, or if they are, it's because of a overt hypnosis or vampire power or something, right?
Okay.
It's some other force is breaking down normal social barriers. So you have that to account for, and typically nothing starts in a relationship. No anime starts the two characters in a relationship. They build that and tease you with that, and then they develop one over time in the same way you would build a relationship with someone non-sexually anyways. And you become attracted to someone around that barrier. In the exact same way the couple who is already together is having to work around that barrier. It's no different. It's the same. Might take longer. It's the same.
Okay. I can see where you could say that it's the same. It's just one is working with the advantage of established love versus the other one having to work to that established love. Just both of them have to get over the fact.
That's just saying that one has a time advantage.
Yeah, exactly. But okay,
It's the same barrier
yeah.
either way.
Here's
So why don't we treat that relationship the same either? Or why are you saying we don't treat that? I think we do treat
here
that relationship the same way.
you want the honest truth, and I don't know if you will consider this bad faith, but I feel like you will get it. It's because anime fans on both sides suck. There are like the people that do just lewd the actual character for the
I
actual
don't think
child,
that
like,
actually matters.
huh?
I don't think that actually matters. I don't think any person drawing lewds of any anime character has ever impacted another person's life or
Okay,
opinion.
no. Not the people who draw the lewds. I'm talking about, like, the over infatuated people of it.
I don't think people who seek out the lewds actually change that much in the social discourse either. I think for the vast majority, 99.999999999 repeating percent of people who seek out lewds of anime characters that would otherwise seem inappropriate to seek out lewds for, do not go around telling people they do so.
Okay, fair. I don't. Okay, fair.
So they're not significantly impacting any discourse anywhere ever.
Okay, then the other side is just the people who are who don't want to honestly dig into things as deep as we are, and we're not even going that deep.
We're not. We
Like,
haven't even.
if I'm being completely honest, like, I'm going to make a statement that kind of jerks the both of us off. Honestly, I doubt that the majority of anime fans have thought of a fraction of what we have talked about in the last 4 years of making this podcast.
Okay, they haven't thought about it on purpose, but they've thought about it.
I actually think there are people that just actively don't. Like, the amount of shit that I have talked to and seen so far are just people that are just like either like they're either the type of people that will go and be that's the type of way things are type people, or they'll go around and like they'll just be like, well, like, that's it's just cause. Like, why can't you just accept that it's common? They'll use the common sense argument of like, well, that makes sense because of it, and like that doesn't help anything. That doesn't help any type of progress. Like, that I think that's the biggest issue that I've had coming to this, and of like trying to understand like where I could be at a comfortable position of like I can feel confident. It's because no one like in good faith had this argument properly. I think like a handful of people, and most people don't even want to touch this. Huh?
That's why we have it.
No, I know. That's why
We're on a tiny little platform with our voices spewing out into the ether. People can listen to us, and if any engagement's going to be had with it, and they wouldn't have engaged with it normally, this is their way of engaging with it.
No, I get it, and I that's the reason why I feel like our platform stands out. But like that's what I mean. I don't like that's why it's so hard to have like this kind of the conversation is because like most people don't even I didn't even think about it until you engaged with it. Until you made me engage with it. Like, I just kind of sat there. It's like, bro, like they're just children. But like everything you said so far has made sense. But it's at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where it's just like I just don't know if I can like, despite everything except the fact that like, going on the back to the other thing we were talking about. But like, even with the current part we're at with the conversation, like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but like at least like that's how I think most people would reflect it, and I think that's just why it's such like at least that is not good. Because honest to God, though, at least from this conversation alone, I don't think like the 600-year-old lolly arguing like conversation is as bad as the 16 or 15-year-old conversation, because at least this one it has some workaround to where like you can make it make sense, and it's at least like insane enough to where it can have some ground. But I feel like that one is just too based in reality. The other one is too based in reality to truly like, I think, have any type of not real weight, but I think it's too based in reality to where you might have to start biting the bullet on some other things in reality. And I feel like the only reason we may not have to is because of the barrier you were talking about when it comes to animation and actual real life. And the fact that this is media and not real life.
So, you want to break down some more barriers?
I don't know. Because at this point, this isn't even a podcast of my dress up darling. We were supposed to do a review. At this point, I can't in good faith say that this is a review of my dress up darling. This is just the conversation of sexualization in anime.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you said isekai, I thought of something that I thought you were going to say, and it's the same one that we've had this discussion with some of our friends in private before.
Oh God! Oh, I don't.
A wildly different side than everyone else on it, but
Wait, time out. I don't want to get comments. Well, that fucked me. Fuck my life.
That's why you silence your cell phone during the movie, children.
Nope, that was my alarm. And I forgot to turn it off. Because I don't need my alarms at 1 o'clock in the morning anymore. Also, I realized it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Is it 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yep, my alarm went off. That is not means it is. That means it is 1 o'clock in the morning.
Holy shit, when did that happen?
I don't know. We've been recording for a while, honestly. Where the fuck is the thing? Ah, I don't need you. Let me turn all that bitch off. I turn all that shit off. Okay. Done. So, I know where you're gonna go. And honestly,
it's time
I don't.
Mushoku Tensei.
What?
It's time for jobless reincarnation.
Oh.
It is what you're thinking of.
No, I know. It's just I just realized there's a lot of fucking examples of this particular thing.
There are examples of this, and I think people actually agree with me on this. I think it's creepy that in Mushoku Tensei, the main character is an adult who reincarnates in another world as a child with full memory and consciousness from his previous life. He is a full-ass 26-year-old who straight up molests little girls at points.
I'm going to keep it 100 with you, G.
Body of a child, but he's a 26-year-old in every way that matters.
I'm going to keep it 100 with you, G. I don't think most people would agree with you.
So here's the thing. I think they do.
No.
I think that most people would consider an adult in a child's body as an adult. And I think you agree with me because you just said as much at the end of the last conversation.
Okay.
You said that you were getting to the point where you are accepting the ethical argument that it's easier to accept lolly grandmother than it is to accept the inverse, children doing things with each other. So, you have already agreed that that is an adult in a child's body.
Okay, yes. I do not disagree with you on this. And I do not disagree with you with
what makes it okay for that adult in a child's body to have relationships with actual children.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Well, you just admitted that I'm right.
What?
You just admitted that I'm right.
Wait.
You just agreed with me.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think the rest of the anime community would agree with you, though.
I think they would. I think
okay, hold on. let's just say this: we after that whole night we had about that conversation, I'm pretty much on your side with this. That's weird, right?
Okay, you might be, but every single other
No.
one of our friends was not.
Yes, because they think the same way as the anime base would, and the anime base looks at that, and it looks solely on age.
But no, they're not looking solely on age.
No, they
Because
are. No, they are though.
if they
No,
were, then they would admit that the age of the person in that child's body is more than the age of the body. If they
wait.
were looking at age, age is different from a bodily time. Age as a concept is mostly based around experience and growth, not time on Earth.
Yeah, but people look at the time on Earth. People will.
Well, what? That consciousness has had more time on Earth than that body. That's
Alex, listen, I fucking agree with you, but I can guarantee you that more people would be okay with fucking
going
Java's
back.
reincarnation dude banging people that's technically his age, despite the fact he has that life
No,
experience.
no, no. That are not technically his age. That are technically 20 years younger than him.
Okay, when I mean technically his age, I'm talking about him being like, yes, he in his consciousness is not that age.
He is a
But
26-year-old man in a 6-year-old's body touching 6-year-olds.
I agree. I agree with this. But people will argue that the physical body that the consciousness is in is no longer would be okay because that physical body is in the same age or in the same place. I feel like most people because like if
Imagine
you
would ever make that argument in good faith.
most of the anime community doesn't argue shit in good faith. What are you on about?
Okay, if we're talking about how people engage with things, I don't think that when pointed out, the conscious experience bullshit. That
Okay,
people
if it's pointed out to people, they might change. But if like let's say me and you, right? Okay, let's say me and you went to like Anime Expo or some shit like that. Anime Expo, SAC Anime and shit, right? We don't have this conversation with people, but we ask them their opinions, right? Like we go up to them and we're like, hey, so we're taking a survey, we're making a video. We want to know people's like, do you think that people hitting on Isekai was weird? I would say.
Hold on, that's wildly different though. You've already said that this is wildly different, that people do not think about what they're consuming, so it would be inappropriate for us to phrase it like that.
Okay.
To be accurate, we would phrase it very specifically and in a way that explicitly points out the strongest point of both sides. So we would phrase it so that both the age of the person's consciousness and the age of the person's body were both directly mentioned, and then we would ask if the relationship between that person
but the
and
point
the person of the same age as their body would be weird. And
wouldn't
I guarantee you, people would think it was weird.
wait, but wouldn't the point of it is to dissect what people think in like not in the like immediate or in like the show because when they watch the show they're not thinking of that. Like
And
I'm
I
tr-
think
like we're like we're trying like because that feels like you're like doing that is already influencing their prior ideas. Or like we're trying to get the ideas that they got at the initial show, like at the initial watching, or like
so
their current state of like how they would feel.
So here's the thing. There's a reason why I use specifically jobless reincarnation as the example for this. Jobless reincarnation is conscious and aware of what it's doing when it does this. It's why in jobless reincarnation, the first romantic interest isn't his childhood best friend, who's a 6-year-old or an 11-year-old, whatever. It's actually an adult woman who teaches him magic. It's his adult or near adult in that world, age of majority woman, who teaches him to use magic. That is the main romantic interest of the show. It is conscious of the fact that he is a adult, and it points out to the audience as much as possible, so that even though the audience wouldn't normally have engaged with that idea, they are forced to confront it at multiple points. By the time he's doing any adult things or implicatively having a more sexualized relationship with the other um, the girl who is closer to his body's age, they treat that character as a sister more than anything, and then um, withhold any activity until she is also of an age of majority in her world. Even the thing I brought up does consciously grapple with this and point out to its audience why it's grappling with it.
Okay, fair. I
It's part of why I like Jobless Reincarnation. It's one of the only caught in another world. It's one of the only isekais where it being an isekai is thematically important and narratively important for the characters and the meta.
okay, that makes sense. And I want to say I can accept it. I have other gripes, but I feel like my other gripes would be moving the goalpost a bit. So I'm not going to state them, but I at least will say I feel like feel like a lot of anime fans would not catch that.
I
I feel
feel
like
like
they would not
you
understand it
wouldn't
unless it was
officially catch that, but when the show points out and has the main character explicitly say, "I'm a 26-year-old man in a
oh,
child's
does he
body,"
explicitly say that
yes,
in the show?
he's
Okay, okay.
confronted by, I think, a god character in an otherworld consciousness, and in his adult body, like his consciousness is still in his adult body from his previous life.
Hmm.
He consciously recognizes that he's an adult and that what he was doing is wildly inappropriate and like evil. That he was seriously thinking about molesting a child, basically, and that after grappling with it, he learns to give up on that past life, right?
Hmm.
And to move beyond those base desires and instead embrace his new life more fully, both thematically um, and narrative and directly, moving past his old life while acknowledging it outright.
Yeah, I have to watch Jobless Reincarnation for context for this. Because I feel like this conversation will be, or at least that I can understand it a little bit more if I actually watched it. But I get what you mean overall.
And right there, I won.
Wait, what do you mean?
The whole point.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Whole point of this topic this whole time.
Wait, what are you talking about? Wait, what? I'm agreeing
Whole
on.
point of this
I was
topic.
agreeing on the scene. You
Mhm.
like? I was being like, oh, okay. Well, if that's the scene, then sure. If they address it. What the
Yeah.
fuck? I'm talking about the fucking. Wait, I thought we were still talking about anime. Wait, hold on.
No, I won.
How? Wait, no. How?
My secret goal this whole time was never talking about the sexualization of women in anime. It was to make you watch Jobless Reincarnation finally.
Alex, are you fucking serious? Wait. Wait. You're fucking with me, right? You're fucking with me, right? There's no way that you didn't know, Alex. You know we planned this out like a month in advance, right? There is no way in God-given hell that you fucking planned this all out.
Isaiah, if I didn't plan this all out, why didn't we talk about any of the original things I brought up to you?
Dude, you could have just
Anime.
asked. You could have just asked to do Jobless Reincarnation. It's on my list of anime. Why didn't you just say we should watch Jobless? Why make this convoluted whole conversation?
One, because I think it's an interesting
It
conversation.
is an interesting conversation, but like,
What better way has there ever been to convince someone of watching an anime? And three, Because I think this part of the conversation is the least important part of the conversation.
What the fuck?
I think everything we've done up until now is kind of memey and honestly not that ethically interesting to me.
What
Um,
the? So you weren't even happy with the conversation.
oh no, I was happy with the conversation because it was necessary. Sadly, you're right. Most people will never
So
address
you
how
agree with me?
what?
So you agree with me that people will never reach the level of competency that we'll ever reach in this conversation, and that they'll
No,
just
no, yeah, yeah. For the vast majority of people, yeah,
what the,
they'll never have engaged with it on their own. So,
why fight back
and,
on that point?
hmm?
Why fight back on that point?
I don't think I did.
Did I?
I
Okay,
think I
maybe.
acknowledged it, and I think I made an argument around it that that they don't need to have engaged with it because they have other interlocutors like us to engage in it for them.
Okay, yeah, you did say
That
that.
was our task
Okay,
was
no,
to
yeah, you did say
that
that.
topic for other people who don't think about it at all, who would barely give it a second thought, or if they did, they'd go, "Ew, that's weird. Why do I think that's weird? It must be because the age thing. It must be because one of them looks like a kid," and then they just stop thinking there. So thankfully, now whoever managed to watch this has had a better in-depth look at that. The thing is, I don't find any of that interesting personally.
What the fuck? Wait, you pushed this as like, what the?
Yeah, no, I did. Because I think there's a follow-up conversation that sadly you need to move past all this stuff for.
What's
I
the?
think there's a very important conversation about women in anime. I just don't think it's about the age stuff. I think the age stuff is really memey and
Are you talking about the same thing?
that people seem to vocally care about it, and it seems to be what keeps making all these controversies around us in the anime community. But I don't think it's
Well,
actually
cause yeah, no one wants to be called a fucking pedophile, dog.
what.
Because no one wants to be called a fucking pedophile. They don't, because anime fans would rather not have the community be associated with pedophiles. That's the reason. And okay,
Um,
as fucked up as this, huh?
like like we just said though, like we just worked through, none of that was actually pedophilia, or at least it can all be interpreted as
Okay, wait, okay, sure, but
uh,
people will slap pedophilia on it.
sure people who didn't listen to people actually take that apart.
Yeah, because no one ever fucking like. Where have you been? Like, bro,
Listen, anyone who just listened to us has been forced to think a little bit more about it and has been forced to hear two other dumbasses' opinions on it as they take it apart at a surface level.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm not gonna. I don't think most people are gonna care about this. They might be like, oh, cool. They might not look at us as pedophiles, but they don't give a shit.
I don't really think that's accurate. I think we've done a good enough job, um, not not just making it seem not important. It's just none of it's about kids. It's not. It's just not
So
about kids.
what the bigger the what you want to talk about the bigger thing where it comes about like what how women are treated in general in anime,
Yeah, that's the
which is
real
still an
conversation.
important topic. Don't get me wrong, like
Yeah,
but like
it's the important topic.
like you do realize we're most likely not going to disagree on this.
Yeah, I know, which is why it's important to have the big Mimi conversation first to get the thing that everyone's vocally says is important, the thing that everyone vocally is obsessed with, out of the way first. Age in anime doesn't really matter and isn't a real part of the conversation about how women are treated or portrayed in anime because I think I could at least get you to agree that women are portrayed as women in anime and that it's very rare for girls to be portrayed in anime.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'll agree
And
with
that
that statement.
when they are, typically when little girls are portrayed in anime, it is usually in an appropriate setting and fashion and is not being overtly exploitative, usually. I think we agreed that things with little children that act like little children, like the anime for Made in Abyss, or um, Tortoro, or
Oh,
what's
that kids in anime will be
I mean,
that kids in anime will be mostly portrayed as kids and just kids.
yeah, the actual kids being portrayed as kids aren't usually being exploited in the same way that adults or characters being portrayed as adults, despite canonically being of an age, are actually treated. That typically
Uh,
people like Raftalia is not treated as a child by anyone other than Natsuki.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
She's not.
No, she's
She's
not.
not treated as 13 years old.
No, fair. She's not. She's not. She is 13 years old. Man. They beat her ass so much. I mean, I'm not wrong. Like, fuck.
But but it's just not it's like it's a manufactured problem in anime
I mean,
that
yeah.
that people complain about how children are portrayed. Children are
Oh,
not
all that. I mean, I think to an extent. Okay, okay. Here's the thing. I think. Okay, it circles back to the thing where I talked about where it comes that people look at it, but people only look at like the age. I honestly, the thing that I know is the fact that gives your argument weight is that if the creators of those stories really wanted to,
they could
they could
just say
change the age from 15 to 18 or like
exactly
13 to
and nothing.
19 and no one would bat an eye. People would just be like, oh, okay,
I would even argue that most of those high school slice of lives they could literally canonically change it to
college.
college.
Yeah, and people would be like, oh yeah, it's just the college love story, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, like no, I don't disagree with that. But it is a thing where people look at the age and like I get it too, right? Because like you look at that and like I do feel like part of there's a small group of people that will look at the age and be like young fucking young people, but like obviously we're
But those
most
all still not engaging with the actual with
yeah they're not
anything.
engaging with the actual media. They're just engaging with just the fact
Even,
the idea
even
that that person's a minor.
even more specifically, they're not engaging with the narrative in the first place.
Yeah,
So the narrative isn't important to them, anyways. So the fact that it's a kid doesn't matter to them because nothing else mattered to them either.
yeah, but like it's just also socially hard to ever. That's why, like, honestly, I can say this, but at the end of the day, at least for my own sake, I'm still not looting or talking about anyone that's above the
Cannot.
age of 18, just for my own sanity of not dealing with that bullshit or not having that annoyance of all that. Where I can admit there are characters who I may like, who I could, but I'm not. There's a reason I moved from one blue haired girl of Rem to another blue haired girl of Esdeath.
Um,
Actually that's not even true. I just genuinely like Esdeath a lot. But
I
that's
mean,
beside the point.
Ezeth is not the same. The attraction to Ezeth is not the same as the attraction to Rem. I would not call those the same thing.
To be fair, that's why I said okay, that's not really true because as I grew up, the attraction for Rem was no longer there. That was younger me versus what I am into now, which is admittedly someone that's more like an Esdeath.
Hey, you know what? You know what can get pretty much everyone. You know what will get like just everyone.
What?
The real trap, the real AIDS trap.
I swear to God, if you say Astolfo, I'm gonna beat your ass. I don't
No,
know
no,
why that came into my mind, but if you say Astolfo, I'm beating
the
your ass.
real gender trap. No, no, no. There's an age trap out there so infamous for our generations that I'd be surprised if you didn't guess it. Specifically for like Americans between the age of say um 18 and 30.
Wait, hold on. Are you talking about? This is. I'm assuming we're talking about Western animation now.
Sure. I mean, I'd call it an anime, but sure.
Oh, this is an Avatar, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Are you talking about Katara?
Oh, every one of the girls in that show is underage.
Okay.
You know Katara.
In my defense,
You know.
in
You
my
know
defense, I liked them before I became an adult. Thank you very the fuck much.
me too. Me too.
Now I don't like honest to God, I don't like them now. Well, oh,
Uh,
cute.
I'll be quite honest. Azula is hot. Period, and she's
Oh,
portrayed as an adult. She goes to
yeah.
war. She murders people. She is fully developed, both physically and supposedly mentally. I mean, in fact, she's kind of off her rocker.
Okay,
She
okay. So okay. I have an interesting question.
power. She's given literal power.
Okay, wait. I have an interesting question, right? So okay.
Treated as an ethical agent. I mean,
Stop. So you would say that a lot of what has to do with what is ethically right to date somebody or not would be like life experience, right?
say that again.
You would say that like the basis of what you consider to be like ethically right to date somebody would be like life experience or the things that they've been through in life. Yes,
Mm,
more yes and no, or is it a mixture of life on
both.
Earth plus
I
plus
think it's a
experience?
mixture of a lot of things. And I think it's hard to boil it down to any one thing. And if I were going to boil it down to one most important thing for what determines agency between people, it would be some. It would be a hard cross between like a state of health and a state of experience. So um, whether or not people have had a shared number of or amount of life experience, um, and also whether or not someone is um, of the right mind to be able to consent in the first place. So, like some mixture of those two things. I don't know which I'd actually consider more important. If I had to guess, it would be mental state,
Yeah, if that was me, I'd probably pick mental state. That seems like the more
but uh,
like.
but mental state alone cannot be the determining factor.
Well,
No one thing
yeah,
can. If we treat it just as mental state, then like
everyone
what
would that would
two
yeah
mentally healthy people could get together, that just seems weird.
yeah
And like a mentally healthy 6 year old, a mentally healthy 30-year old,
yeah
no.
no that obviously
Some combination between shared amount or similar life experience, um, and uh, personal faculties.
okay. Hmm. That makes me think. Makes me think. So you would say so like okay, so let's say there's like two characters. Let's say there's a story about two characters, right?
Uh-huh.
One has gone through a lot of shit in their lives. Oh,
Uh-huh.
actually, no, that wouldn't. Actually, the scenario kind of falls apart because with you bringing up mental health, I can say one person's been through a lot while the other person's like kind
Exactly.
of yeah. But the problem is that one person is too mature and doesn't have the life expectancy,
And keep in
and
mind,
the
it's not just mental health. I say mental faculties because I think there are things beyond traditional health that are important too. I think if one person has more mental agency, so more control over their life, it's also different. So, like, two people can be equally healthy and have equal life experiences, but if one of them is not allowed to make their own choices and the other one is allowed to make their own choices, don't think it would be an appropriate relationship for different reasons because one of them is someone with agency and one is without agency, even though they're both similarly experienced and similarly healthy.
okay, fair.
So it's faculties, not just health. Mental faculties include extra things. So the reason why most 30-year-olds have more um, agency than most 16-year-olds isn't necessarily because they have more life experience. I know a lot of 30-year-olds or people who are close to it that have just as few actual life
Mm.
experience than many 16-year-olds. Um, but they still have some big differences. One of them is treated very differently in both society and in form and function than the other is. One of them has the ability to go out and buy their own groceries, travel to different states, hell, spend the night at someone else's house without parental permission.
So what
And
if?
does
So
not.
okay. So if yeah, uh,
There are certain faculties that can be provided to a person that provide them agency above and beyond what another person might experience.
okay. I think I understand. This is long. What's your goal really? Just for me to watch Java's reincarnation? Is that it? Is that really it?
I mean, it was also so that we could actually talk about women in anime, but this has gone on way longer than I thought the meme conversation would go on for.
Well, because
So
I told you there's a lot. Okay, well, yes, it's the meme conversation. There's still a lot within the meme conversation.
I know. I'll admit, I may have planned out what points I wanted to hit and where the end goal was. I clearly did not plan out how long it would take to get to each of those points. There was a little bit more substance to work around than maybe I initially thought.
Dude, this is a thing that I struggle with quite a bit. I struggle with this thought process quite a bit on where I stand. And I'm not gonna lie, I still don't completely know, if I'm being completely honest.
Really? Because I think it's so easy. It's
Oh,
okay.
it's so easy,
It's
motherfucker.
okay
Then
because
where would
there
you
are
stand?
children. There are no real children being affected, and there are no fake children being affected. Even if we take the totality of evidence, I can't even call Ash from Pokemon a child because he's not being acted by a child. He's not acting as a child. It's just if we take a totality of evidence, there's no child being portrayed. There's no true children.
Okay, this is true. And honestly, the thing that I hark back to the most when thinking about this, unironically, is the 1v6 argument that Destiny had like fucking 5 years ago, where they were talking about like it's not the same, right? But it does get the basis of like there are no one's getting harmed, no one's getting hurt. So like at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter.
Well, it's no one's being harmed, no one's being hurt, and I don't think a reasonable person of either mental health or intelligence would actually engage with this as if they were real children.
Yes.
I don't believe people are capable of doing that without something potentially unhealthily wrong in their mental state.
Okay, that
If
yes,
you're treating an animated feature as if it's real people in real life, something's gone wrong.
fair. I would say that if there is something, if they go beyond that point, then
If
obviously
they're
something is mentally wrong with them, and they
yeah,
need to
if
fix it.
they're unable to distinguish between reality and um, fictions with that many layers of separation between reality and itself, then I would say uh, they're not capable of being informed consenters in the first place.
I mean,
They're
fair.
not capable of the faculties of consent I would expect of a normal functioning adult.
Okay, fair, fair.
And if you're a child treating this as a child would, then that's appropriate. If you're a kid and you're watching this and you do think of them as 16-year-olds, say if you're a 16-year-old watching this and you do think of them as 16, you're projecting yourself on these 16-year-olds.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, that's fine. That's what that's made for. It's made for the protection of those young
exactly.
kids.
It's exactly. It's being portrayed for you, and I think everything that's being shown is real enough and just part of people's lived experience enough that it's appropriate to be shown anyways. So it's appropriate for a 15-year-old to watch a show about animated 15-year-olds getting naked. Honestly, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's and it's fine if they're not able to separate that from reality as much as adults, because I don't expect them to be doing that.
Yeah.
There are fewer barriers for them between reality and it,
Yeah.
and it's built for that.
Yeah. This
And
was
when
a
adults are looting it, they're not looting the child aspect of it, or at least I'd hope they're not. In the vast, vast, vast majority of cases, they're not. They're looting a big boobed, adult looking person.
yeah. This was a long conversation. Well, this title's definitely not going to be my Dress Up Darling review. I'll just do that on my channel by myself.
No, the title's gonna be How I Got Tricked into Watching Mushoku Tensei.
I think that should be the twist. You should never put the twist in the title, Alex. Unless for some reason you're split. That actually kind of worked out kind of well. I fuck man, dude. Is there anything? Is there anything else? I don't think there's anything else.
I mean, not about age. There's a lot about like agency and consent that I think we could talk about with women in anime. I just think it's a totally different and more interesting conversation.
Okay.
Or sorry, not more interesting, more important conversation. And I wouldn't want to portray it in a memey way. I would want it to be a serious conversation about the disappointing side of anime sometimes.
Okay. Would you be okay making that the next podcast? That way we can actually build up another anime we could probably talk about down the road.
Yeah, I just think that we need to make it explicitly clear. When you watch our next episode and it's about that topic, I think we should let our audience know at the beginning of next episode that it's a disappointing side of anime. That it would be a topic about.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be the darker side of anime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this. It's a strenuous podcast. I have to watch Jobless Reincarnation now, even if it's not for that. It's just the amount of effort you put into that. It's just like there's still doubts in my mind that you went that far and you just kind of thought of that now. Part of me thinks you thought of that now, but either way, you somehow got me interested in.
If you want supplemental evidence that I didn't just think of that now, think about what prompted me to originally start this conversation and think about if that ever came up.
Wait, what?
What initially sparked my wanting to have the conversation about women in anime?
I thought it was the Nezuko scene from Demon Slayer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what does that have to do with Jobless Reincarnation?
Nothing. That's my point. If you want supplemental evidence of why it's obvious that I constructed, to some extent, my arguments for this episode, it's that I didn't once bring up the actual inspiration for us talking about agency in anime.
So you did make this up on the fly?
No, if I had made it up on the spot, we would have almost certainly been talking about the only thing that prompted us to talk about this.
Yeah, but I feel like you would bring it up if you constructed it, because that would be the main launching point for everything.
No, because I decided I didn't want to have it in the same conversation. Again, I think of all the age stuff in anime as like a meme that's not actually important, and I think it's almost important that I treat like it's not important. Like I think it's weird that people obsess over fake characters, their ages, and whether or not they got looted on a animated broadcast.
I think it's just the snowballing idea of anime characters leading to real characters leading to actual harm. I don't think people are mad at the actual action. I think they're mad at the potentiality, the
Come
low
on.
potentiality that could have.
Yeah, but no one. I don't think anyone in good faith has ever argued that anime characters being cute equals child molesters molesting kids.
Oh, they do. They do. They're out
No, I
there.
don't think any good faith actor ever has. I
Okay,
think
okay. Good faith after probably
there
not.
are bad faith, not even actual people. I think there are like probably 4chaners and internet trolls who start conversations like that. I don't think anyone actually believes that having a kid in an anime makes a child molester. And
Yeah.
I also don't think that having a 800-year-old woman who looks like a kid makes people child molesters either. I don't think anyone's ever actually made that argument in good faith.
Okay. All right. We need to wrap this up. I am tired of wearing this mask. I was thinking of making this a thing. I'm probably not gonna make this a thing after this sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sweaty as shit under this.
Yeah, I'm sweaty under mine too. Mine's made of wool.
Yeah. Yours are probably a lot worse, honestly. Okay. Well.
But hey, this is a lot better than what I was wearing before.
Well,
I
fair.
I love that helmet, but damn, I need to drill some breathing holes in
Yeah.
there.
Also, my peripheral is fucked. So the paranoia for me being in a dark room where I cannot see my surroundings is fucked. It is low key kind of Five Nights at Freddy's esque, which is mentally fucked in real life. Either way.
I shouldn't tell you about the eyes I saw clearly to your left.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. We'll fuck you. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Thank you for joining us for the podcast. We appreciate you listening, and we hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye.